Hi, John. Kathia Woods with the Philadelphia Tribune. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I will say I was telling Nicole this film hit home with me because I worked in a bank. I managed a bank. Thank God, never got robbed.
Mm,
But a lot of what was going on, I was like, "Ooh, that is actually what they tell you to do."
right.
But even more importantly, this story hits home to something that is very prevalent, which is how we treat our veterans when they come home. Everybody always says thank you for their service,
Right.
but are we really thanking them when we are not tackling issues that help them get reacclaimed
Mm.
to everyday life? And how did that touch you, make you think about veterans when you see them playing this role?
Well, it definitely made me feel like, vets seem to move through a society they don't recognize, especially when there's no help or a sense of empathy. A lot of vets are alone, are kind of like moving through this world alone in their circumstances. We're still with their trauma from what they faced when they've gone out to fight. And for me, it's just, yeah, it was strange knowing that you never know who's actually gone out there and is protecting the very freedom that you enjoy, and all of a sudden society kind of ignores them and shoves them to the side. So this gave me a really good insight into that side, because I don't have any family members that serve, or anyone I actually even know that's serving right now. So that in itself gave me an insight that I needed.
The other thing too is, Black fatherhood, we always say that we want Black fathers to do better, but in order to be able to have part
Mm.
of their children's lives and to hold their families together, they need to be able to provide for them. Can you
Mm.
talk a little bit about that piece too? Because this was a man that loved his family, but there were so many obstacles that kept him from being able to be with the family, and no one seemed to pay attention to that portion of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like to a certain extent, every man would want to provide for his kin, um, whether or not the world is changing and whatever. I mean, it's just will always remain the same. There's just something innate about wanting to provide for your family, wanting to be there for them, and not being able to do that. On top of the stuff that he was going through, on top of the PTSD and all that kind of stuff, it will get to a point where you can't take it no more. You can't take all these emotions and thoughts that make you feel inadequate in your head. And I guess this is how those frustrations were manifested. But it cripples the man to wake up every day and you're not needed. Like nobody needs you. Like it sends a man crazy in a sense, and sends him obsessive about wanting to provide, wanting to buy his daughter a dog and a puppy. He even mentions it during these intense moments, and yeah, you can kind of see where his mind is going. That provision has been also a bane in his back and something that has affected his mind.
Absolutely. Michael K. Williams's character, may he rest in peace, was law enforcement, but he's also a Black man, and he's trying to mitigate and not have the outcome that happened. He's like, this is not some hardened criminal. This is a man that is at the end of his rope, and
Mm.
we can maybe salvage something here. I
Mm.
thought that's also important to see, because I think, we sometimes forget having someone that looks like you and walk the mile in your shoes helps a lot when we get into these conflicts. How
Mhm.
important was that to everyone involved to show empathy, not just to be like, okay, what he's doing is extreme and wrong?
It was very important because the real story in itself kind of it begged for you to have empathy to even understand the circumstance. The article that was kind of the main IP that this movie was based on goes into heavy detail about how things could have been done right. And when you look into that, you start to see this kind of unfair world that tells vets, but specifically black vets, don't make certain types of mistake, or don't be affected in a certain type of way. We're not sure if we can take care of you. And that in itself is a scary thing to think about when you think about the devotion that they have for their country.
Absolutely. I think you gave an absolutely beautiful and moving performance. I hope it sparks our much needed conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.